Morning, everybody. We will start in a few seconds with the first workshop for today. I just want to make you aware that we will be live streaming this session. So if you do not wish to be recognized, you can switch off your camera or change your on-screen name if you want to do that. So welcome to the fourth day of the online forum on direct democracy. We will start now with our session.
Yes, hello everyone. Good morning. I'm Anna Hart, your technical moderator for this session. Yes, also a warm welcome from my side to everyone. It's day 4 of the Global Forum, and we'll kick off with our workshop on comparing petitioning online collection systems. Let me just shortly introduce our moderator, my colleague at Democracy International, Daniela Vancic. And quickly about the rules of conduct. So it's really easy. We do not tolerate any hate speech or spam, and please use the chat for topics that are relevant to this session. How can you engage? So you can either write your questions in the chat or you can raise your hand. It's really easy. Just click on participants at the bottom of the screen, and there you should see the raise your hand function. So that's it from my side, and yeah, Daniela, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Anna. Thanks also to all the panelists for joining. Welcome to the first day, the first session of today. We'll be comparing online collection systems with the European Citizens Initiative. I'm Daniela Vancic. I'm the European Program Manager at Democracy International, and I've been working on the European Citizens Initiative quite extensively for the last 3 years and have seen some of the great new changes that have come with the new regulation of the ECI that went into effect the 1st of January of this year, including some of the technical updates. So I think most of you are at least somewhat familiar with the European Citizens Initiative, but if you do happen to be new here, the European Citizens Initiative is the world's first and only tool of transnational direct democracy. And after collecting 1 million signatures within 1 year, within 7 EU member states, the Commission then responds to the initiative and is invited to prepare a legislative follow-up on the issue. So signatures can be collected on paper or online, but as you can imagine, for a transnational campaign that is so multilingual, so multicultural, most signatures are collected online. But also considering the situation that we're all in this year, requiring us to spend a lot more time indoors than we usually might, not attending any work conferences or events in person. The digital infrastructure of these tools is now even more important than ever. So it's really important to make sure that these tools are user-friendly, they're attractive, so we don't lose active citizenships even during a pandemic. So for this workshop, we'll be looking at 6 really unique and really interesting tools around the world that are used to collect citizen support on issues. They all work in different ways. The first will be Maike Hartwig, that's a senior campaigner from change.org. She's based in Germany, but Change.org does work globally. Then we have, she goes by YY. I got her permission to pronounce her name like this, from the European Environmental Justice Foundation, who will speak about the Taiwanese public policy proposing platform. Then as the third speaker is Dion McCurdy, who's the founder of the app New Vote in Australia, who has a very nice background of Australia there that we're not jealous at all of. And then we will have the fourth speaker, Digius from Manabal's My Voice, the tool that's used in Latvia. And then the fifth speaker, who will be joining us at 10:30, is from Switzerland, is the founder and managing director of campax.org. So he will be joining us later. And then finally, after the presentations of these platforms, we will hear from Jérôme Stefanini, who is the IT project officer at the European Commission Directorate General for Informatics, and who has been leading the IT team of the European Citizens Initiative since 2016. And in between some of these presentations, I will also present a poll to you via Zoom, where you can vote on the features that will be presented to you and whether you believe these features could also be beneficial or helpful for the ECI if it's not something that's already offered by the ECI. And if you're not very sure, if you're not so familiar with the technical aspects of the ECI, that's totally okay. I think you will learn something new today. There are also some new features of the ECI's online collection system, and that's Jerome will share that with us then later. If you have any questions, as Anna said, you can write here in the chat in the meantime, or raise your hand and using the Zoom function. Feel free though to write questions and comments in the chat as they do come to mind, but we'll go through all the presentations first, and then we'll take the questions and comments later. But before I hand it over to the first speaker, Maaike, to tell us all about the great things of change.org, I just wanted to emphasize that this is a workshop where we are comparing and contrasting the various features of these different tools around the world with the ECI in focus. So these are all really unique, complex tools, all with different aims, all with different goals that we'll be learning about today. But as you know, the ECI is especially unique and complex given its transnational political nature. Really nothing like it exists in the world. So it's perfectly normal and expected that we won't be able to draw direct parallels with these tools and the ECI on every feature. And some features may not even be applicable for a tool like the ECI at all. But of course, changing how the ECI works is definitely not so easy as just a click of a button, given its political complexities. But we don't have the opportunity every day to hear from these different tools around the world. So let's just appreciate the differences we'll be learning and use the opportunity to learn something new about how they work and gather some inspiration from one another. So I think I've spoken enough. I will now gladly hand the floor over to Maaike from change.org. So Maaike, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I'm really glad to be part of this workshop today, and I'm also looking forward for the inspiration of all the other collecting tools. So first of all, I will share my screen with you as I prepared a presentation. So now you should see the first slide, and I will just directly go to the next one, to my agenda of today. So first of all, I will tell you a little bit about change.org. Afterwards, we will look at online campaigning during Corona crisis, and then we will come to the most important part of today, and we will have a look on our collecting system, and afterwards also on the technical side, that means the interface and user experience of change.org. So, right, so first of all, change.org, you already mentioned it, it's working globally, and right now it's available in 12 languages and has local teams in 18 countries. But nevertheless, of course, you can use change.org from even many more countries, but those are the countries we have teams in which can focus on supporting the petition starters in those countries. And here is your picture, and I always like to show this when I'm able to speak to people in workshops like this, because that shows that, so that's the German team, and that shows that we are not an like anonymous platform, change.org, but there's a real team behind of campaigners, content creators, it's a fundraising team in there, and even social media people. So that means there are real people behind this platform, and we're just there to support the petition starters during their campaigns. So feel always free to reach out to us if you're campaigning, so we can have a briefer look and maybe we can support you. So then, of course, you already mentioned it, COVID-19. It's really, so for the first time in decades, one topic got the world talking. And following the broader digitalization of society and the new normal, COVID-19 has led to a new era of digital activism. So what we saw in Germany at the very beginning of the lockdown in March was that more than 500 petitions around coronavirus were started just at the very beginning in the first weeks of the lockdown. And we saw campaigns as a response to the global uncertainty. People quickly adopted a virtual form of civic participation. So also those who didn't use online petitions before, they started to use it, and they were quite openly to try new forms of digital participation, like, for example, digital demonstrations or stuff like that. So the platform became a virtual space where citizens and decision makers exchanged perspectives surrounding public health and the economy. So regarding this public health and the economy, I just want to show you the biggest campaigns we saw at change.org. All of those 3 were started at the very beginning. So the one on the left-hand side is asking for an unconditional basic income during Corona crisis. This one in the middle is asking for better conditions for people working in the health sector. And the one on the right-hand side, it's Leave No One Behind. And this one is asking for protecting refugees on the European borders, also and especially during times of Corona crisis. And we all know how important this ask still is. So that was just a brief, overview of what we saw during Corona crisis. And if you're interested in that, I recommend to you our pandemic report, and there you will find much more information. So I guess we will share our slides afterwards, and so you have the opportunity to have a a deeper look in it. So, but now we're coming to the interesting part of today. So that's our collecting system. And first of all, here you see what it looks like when you're signing a petition at change.org for the very first time. So you have to fill in a few data, not a lot, but we're asking you for your whole name, we're asking you for your email address, your postcode. Then you can agree or even disagree, of course, to get further information about this or other relevant petitions on change.org. And you have the option to not show your name in public. So you can also sign anonymous. And that's a really important part as well. So for against manipulation, we have a double opt-in system. That means when you first sign a petition, you get an email and we ask you to verify your email address. So we are sure that you really wanted to sign this petition and you want to be a user and a member of change.org. So then the next time when you already have this account on change.org, so the next time you will come to change.org to sign a petition, it will look like this. So here I'm already logged in, and that means all my informations are already in the site. So I just have to click the button to sign the petition. So that's quite easy. So let's have a look on the technical side. That means the interface and user experience. And therefore, I will go with you. No, that's too far. I'm sorry. So, and therefore, I will just go with you through what it looks like to start a petition at change.org, just to show you. It's just a few steps and it's quite easy. So you can just look yourself and have a look on the interface. So if you go to change.org, you see this at the very beginning, this red button. It says start a petition. So we will do this. And first of all, you can choose an issue your petition is around. So today I will choose animals, and then I will click on continue. And then we ask you to write your petition title. And as you can see, we're giving a lot of tips about what a good title could be like. And as I'm really into cats, I'm of course asking for cute cats for everyone. So that's my title, and now I continue. And then we ask you to name your decision makers. So imagine the person who is really in charge to decide about your issue. So again, there are some hints how you could find out the right person. And so I think, why not? I just put in Angela Merkel. So then we come to the most important part. That's of course the part of the petition itself. So that's definitely too short, but I just put in 2 sentences to show it to you. But actually, of course, it should explain the problem and your ask even more. So in the end, we ask you to fill in a picture. And of course, because that always works, I will fill in this picture of a cute cat. And if I would press this button, I would just come to this. So you can see what it looks like. And afterwards, I could just go and publish, and then it would be online. So you can see it's quite easy to start a petition, and you're guided through all the important steps, and you're provided a lot of hints. So then imagine you already started your petition and it's already online. then you have a dashboard like behind your petition. And this one looks like this. So what you see here is the number of people already signed your petition. You can have a look on the views and shares of your petition. And that's really important when it comes to petition deliveries, you can download the signatures. Here it's quite easy to share your petition, as you can create your own like short vanity URL that is like mostly it has the ask or the specific issue in it. So always when you share it, people can recognize, okay, so the petition is around this and that topic. Then, and that's also a really great feature, you can write updates to your supporters. That means you can write like news underneath your petition, and those go out via email to all your supporters, or at least to those who agreed to get further information. And that's such a strong tool because petition starters like this create some kind of their own newsletter. That means, you know, people who sign the petitions, they are not just signers, but they are supporters. So you can call out to them to support like your actions, to write to decision makers, to support your petition delivery, or you can just, you know, provide them information, for example, if your petition was in the media or something like this. So let's also have a briefer look on this. So yeah, that's what a petition looks like. And as I just told you, underneath the petition, you'll find the updates, and you can comment on the petition, but you can also comment on the updates. So it's not a one direction communication of the petition starter, but the supporters themselves can answer to the updates. And then again, you can see that now I could reply to it. So this could be a broader discussion on the issue. So you really get the people involved. Then what's also a cool feature is that also decision makers can answer to your petition, and those you can find above. And when you go there, so you just see it. So that's one decision maker, and he answered to the petition. And that means that you really can, you like provide the space for a broader discussion around the issue you're campaigning for. So let's go back to the petition and let's have one last look on the petition dashboard. I just showed you the screenshot. So this one you already saw. And if you go a little bit down, so you see the petition checklist. So once again, also even when your petition is already online, you're able to like optimize it afterwards. And therefore we are guiding you through all these points. And here are also more tips like reaching out to the media, engaging your decision maker, or in the end, hopefully declare victory. But as you can all see, there are a lot of tips and hints, and you're quite good guided through your campaign. So let's go to my last slide, just to sum it up, some points I mentioned. So some great features of change.org, and I hope those are part of our like good user experience. So first of all, we have the updates I mentioned to you. That means you can really get your supporters involved, and you can make them from signers to supporters. Then, of course, I didn't mention it before. That's our email list, which we are constantly trying to increase. That means we can like reach out to the users of change.org, and for example, we can show them new petitions via our newsletter, and that means we also try to get our users involved and to inform them about what is happening on our platform. Then I showed it to you. It's like super easy to start a petition, and it's also quite easy to share and to sign a petition. And then, of course, I mentioned at the very beginning, there are real people behind the platform. So we offer our campaigns team, and we're just there to support petition starters, especially those who are not that used to campaigning already. And so that's part of our mission to empower as many people as possible. So, and yeah, that's mostly it. So that's my contact, but you know, nevertheless, you will get it in the end, I hope, when we share the slides. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward for the discussion and the inputs of all the other people talking today. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, Mikey, for that really comprehensive presentation. I'm also very ready to sign the petition QCATs for everyone. I don't know about all you, but yeah, thanks also for a really great introduction, just how important digital campaigning has become during the COVID crisis. And a few of these features definitely caught my attention too. I have some questions about them myself, but I'll leave them until the end. I will pull up the first poll now. Let's see. Can you all see that? If you are made a co-host, so our speakers, for example, cannot, won't be able to vote on this because they've been given share screen rights. But can somebody who's not a speaker co-host just confirm that you can also see this? Does this come up? Is there a poll that's on your screen? Do you see it?
Yes, but I cannot click on anything.
Okay, yeah, I think Anya, that's because you're a co-host, so you can't vote. But everybody else who's not, so basically not a speaker in today's session can vote on this. This is, of course, this is just your opinion. There's no right or wrong answer. But if you're just not sure if that already exists or if this would be feasible or applicable to the ECI, just take a good guess given your understanding of the ECI. We'll come back to the poll results at the end. So I'll give you some minutes to do that. These were some features that have been presented to us already by Mike's presentation about signing up for email updates, for example. The newsletters, this is how they get the word out about different petitions. I see that some votes are already coming in, so I'm glad to know that it's working. I will leave this up for a minute or so, let you read through it. Okay, some of you I see, Martin, you can't vote. Is anybody else having trouble, who is not a speaker, having trouble voting? I do see votes are coming in. About 12, 13 questions or so. Okay. If you do, if you're running into trouble voting, but this is just, we will use this just as a poll, just to also give some food for thought for discussion then at the end. And Jerome will also then comment on this to let us know what is offered by the ECI already, what could be offered potentially, or what is just not feasible at all. But if you are having trouble voting, just keep in mind one of the questions or one of the answers, something you would like to comment on, maybe make a note of it, and then we can also give you the floor to answer how you would have wanted to vote and why at the end. If that's not working, I'm sorry if you are having trouble voting in the poll. I'll give it another couple seconds. Okay. Okay, perfect. I see Martin was also able to cast his vote. There will be, these are 3 questions with multiple choices. We will have 2 more polls after this, all with 2 to 3 questions. Okay, perfect. I'll end the poll for now. And I won't share the results with you just yet. We'll keep that until the very end, so stay tuned. Okay, good. So now let's cross over continents to our speaker, YY, from the Environmental Justice Foundation. She will speak about the Taiwanese public policy proposing platform. So YY, the Zoom room is yours.
Okay, thanks, Daniela. And hi, everyone. I'm Yuxuan from Taiwan. You can just call me YY. So I'm really glad to be invited here because I can meet Dian again. I met him like last year in Taiwan, and also when I saw that Micah from change.org is sharing, I was very happy because even Taiwan is not in the 18 country with change.org team. We also see a lot of petitions on the internet. People will share about that. So I think that's really something very international. But I'm sorry that today the platform I'm going to share is very local. It's the platform that from our country, because I think that it can really draw a good comparison with ECI because it's also something from the official, but we are only in one state instead of 27 countries within the European Union. So that would be simpler, more easy for us to propose or to sign the petition because we kind of share the same language, the same culture. Yeah, and before I did some study on the ECI and I found something really interesting that because for ECI, you have to collect 1 million votes to get something passed, right? But in Taiwan, we only have to get 5,000. So when I tried to do the calculation that, okay, so within 10,000 people, how many signatures you have to collect comparing Taiwan and the ECI. So for Taiwanese, we only have to have 2 persons within 10,000 people. Then you can get the petition, then you can get that things answered by the government. But for the European country, you have to have 22 person among 10,000 people. So I think it's the threshold here in Taiwan is relatively very low, and you already get the answer from the government. So let me share my screen now so you can see how our system works. So wait a minute. Okay, so I believe you can see my screen now. So it's all in traditional Chinese, so I believe that you can understand, but I will just take you through all the details here. So here you can see that is the process for you to propose anything. So when you do the propose, at the first step, it's interesting that actually you can post your idea and ask for inputs. So here you can see that there are some proposal from others. So and people can just input any of your ideas inside, like they will say about more details about their proposal, and then people will discuss like under that proposal. So once your proposal is sorry, wait a minute, it's the Zoom sharing screen is blocking my screen. So okay. So once you are about to share something, once you finish the input collection, something like that, or you can just skip that process. You can stop from writing your proposal. So they will talk about like some restriction, and all of the proposal should be about our executive ministries. And also the restriction is put on the issue regarding national securities, and also like armies or the relationship with China. You can see that it's complicated in Taiwan. So we are not allowed for people to propose anything that to change our relationship with other foreign countries. Yeah, okay, so once you agree with all these terms and conditions, you can go to the next step. And then you can talk about the topic, the description, and you have to assess what's the benefit and also the impact to the society. I think that is really important. And you can have some links, picture, and YouTube, SlideShare, whatever, some details about your proposal. And here's another thing I think is important. You can select up to 3 ministry that has to answer your question. Like for example, this is the Ministry of Internal Affairs, Ministry of Economic Affairs and Ministry of Culture. So these are all the ministries that you can ask questions. Okay, so let me show you what happened once a proposal is inside the vote collection period. So you can see that, so the first one is the time that this person proposed, and then after and this actually the government will still screen about your details, but actually I think that is not that harsh when they are viewing these proposals. So if you are all okay, then you will enter the third section, that is the collecting signatures section, and it will shows that how many votes you still have to collect and how many time it's left. And I think one of the most interesting features I want to talk about in our platform is that there's a place for you to discuss. So for people who agree on this proposal, you can say about why you are agree with this, and others can either agree with you or disagree with you. So the green side are those who are agree with the proposal, and this part is for other thoughts. So maybe you are not really disagreeing with that, but you have other thoughts, then it will be on here on the red okay, red section. Yeah, so you can see also people can agree or disagree with these other thoughts. Yeah, and once you collect the 5,000 votes, then you will enter another part that you can see here again, like what we just saw, right? The proposal and screening and the collecting period, and then the government has to answer you. So once they answer, they will create another time period here. So when did the government answer? And they can answer for many times that because the government at the first place, they will try to understand what the issues are, and they will ask for some detailed information from the person who proposed this idea, and they will have meetings to discuss on this. Once the people who proposed this idea, once this proposal is passed, the government will list out the timeline that they are going to do all these things I mentioned, like to clarify the question, to get more information from you, to have the meeting. They will have all these detailed timeline. And after these, so you can see that the second timeline is to provide some information. And so the ministry, before that day, they will announce that, okay, so what happened and what is the information that is provided. And after the meeting, they will also have the meeting notes, minutes here to let everyone know what happened. And at the end, they will say that, okay, so how we are going to accept this idea. So there are 4 kinds of different levels of acceptance, like they decide not to, or they decide to have further discussion, or they're going to apply partially, or they are going to apply fully. So, and also the government will talk about why they are doing this. So this one is about to apply the marijuana to medical care because it's not allowed. It's still considered a drug here in Taiwan. So the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare will have to be the one that answer this question. So yeah, that's what will happen once that is complete. So this platform is also, I think, very user friendly. Is that okay? So another feature I will share is when people vote, the name will be here. And also for anyone, even though I'm not the one who proposed for this idea, I can just download the whole list of people who agree with this petition. And also they will show a map of how these people are distributed, like in what kind of okay, so here's a chart for different municipals, and like in details, like in what area of the country that these people are living in. Okay, so it's like this, yeah, and you will get editable on Excel file showing that who at what time vote for this. So actually, not only the team or the person who proposed this issue can really know who really cares about this, but also other people. Like for example, I do the climate change issue. I'm a climate change campaigner. I can also look at like other proposal regarding to climate change and how people are react to that and where they live. So I can go to like, for example, the mayor of that city and say that, hey, you look at this. Many of your citizens already care about this kind of issue. So I think maybe you should do something. So I think this feature is really good for campaigners, because Daniela asked about like, if we think about campaigner friendly, I think this feature is really campaigner friendly. Yeah. So also other things that is campaigner friendly is that, just as I mentioned, I can search on a related issue. For example, I type in climate change here, so I can see all the proposal regarding climate change. For example, this column shows that whether they are still in the period of collecting signatures, and here shows their status. For example, for these, they didn't pass the screen, the screen section, and these after the period for collecting signature, they didn't reach the 5,000 people, so they didn't make it there. And here are those proposal that successfully collect the 5,000 signatures. Yeah, and this one is still under the collection period. Yeah, so, and it's interesting that once I vote for any proposal, they will send an email to you that once government answer to that issue. So I can then just simply click that and know about how the government is answered. So just as Micah mentioned about for the people who signed the petition, they would want to know about what happened next, right? So what happened next here in Taiwan is that whenever the government answered any of the petition you signed, you will receive an email, and you can just click inside and see what's their decision. Yeah, so I think because of our threshold is relatively low, so we kind of have a lot of proposal here, and also a lot of proposal pass the threshold. Like you can see here that 210 proposal pass the 5,000 threshold. So some of them have already answered by the government. Yeah. So I think that's all of my sharing.
Great, thank you so much, YY, for that really comprehensive presentation too. And as you mentioned, this is also one of the tools that is maybe the most similar or comparable to the ECI compared to all the other tools that we'll be looking at today. I found it especially fascinating that you could like refer the initiative to a respective ministry, because I think that means that the campaigners have to be really aware of how their initiative can then have some kind of effect themselves. Maybe just for clarification, we are doing questions at the end, but this is something you can answer quickly. And just to clarify for us, what is the time period in which you have to collect the 5,000 signatures? This is a question by Donald.
I think it's about a month, I would say. Let me check and I'll answer that in the chat. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you can answer that also in the chat. And then there's a second question from Donald there about if signatories have to be from registered voters, or how this is also checked.
Actually, there has been a debate on this because our the platform itself has little on your the screening of people who are able to vote. So for now, it only says that you are a permanent citizens, or no. So you permanent visa, I would say. Maybe you it has different names in different country, but just for citizens and people with the permanent rights to live in Taiwan, you are able to vote. But actually, when I sign up to the platform, it only collects my email and my cell phone. So I actually doubt how it really screen on me. So so people are really like concerned about this because for example, like Chinese government, they can just DDoS attack this kind of platform by using a lot of fake accounts. So I'm not sure that how they really verify the people's identity. Yes.
Okay, yep, and of course you can also answer. I see Mike has already started to answer some of the questions in the chat too, so the speakers are also welcome to do that. And if there are follow-up questions, we can also have a discussion at the end. But for now, I'm going to be very happy to give the floor to Dion McCurdy from Australia, who is actually a veteran of the Global Forum on Modern Direct Democracy. So it's good to see you virtually, Dion. Can you tell us about your app, New Vote, and what makes it so special?
Hey, thanks, Danielle. Thanks. Hi, everybody. Very glad to be at another Global Forum. And so I'm the CEO and founder of New Vote, which is essentially a democracy app. And it's a link between people and their leaders. I should just share with you my screen. I'll take you through a run through. So are you seeing the screen now?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, so that's my website, and if you want to have a look at, in further detail, because I'm not going to go into great detail about what New Vote is, but the Institute and the app and our team and so on. But if I just go open the app. And it's taking a little bit longer because, Zoom is using up a bit of my bandwidth. This is the home page. It's very, very basic. You select the community that you're a part of. And I'm going to select this one, which is called QT Guild. So we are piloting our platform with universities, with the student university organizations. So we've just got 2 universities that we're concentrating on. So this one here is the Queensland University of Technology, QT. It's a student guild. This is the name that they've given their their page is called Have Your Say, and they've got a byline there, your voice, your guild. There's a few statistics here. There's still only under 1,000 members. There's 10 issues that have been raised and 28 solutions. There's a straight to your issues button, a bit of information about what QT is doing here, and the most voted issues. So if I click on your issues, you see issues are coming up under topics. And if I click on this issue here, this is the issue view. You can see that there's social media sharing. There's a subscription button. There's the title of the issue, the topic that it falls under. There's an information summary there. Then you've got a progress feed. So this has moved from being raised to being in progress. And this has an update from, this is one of the vice presidents who's explained that, the guild has managed to get more money from the university. We have a tab here for extra information. So this is where you sort of put links to, third-party resources. And then you have solutions that you're able to vote on. So that's the basic structure of our platform, is that you have a community, it's only allows verified members in. So I've already logged in here, but you wouldn't be able to log in. You'll be able to see the community, but you would need your student number and password to get in. So we know for certain that that it's only students are voting and that they're only voting once. And so this is talking about how much money that is collected from a student fee should actually be given to the guild to spend. And so if I vote on one of these, I'll say, let's say the majority over 66%, it grays out the vote down button and it shows me how many people have voted and what the current score is for that solution. And then just below, so we have, I guess, to note here is that there's voting up and there's voting down. So we're not exactly a traditional petitioning website. We're more a voting, I suppose, more of a direct democracy, digital democracy platform. And that there is multiple solutions for an issue so that they all sort of compete with each other. And so if I, voted on all of these, then I would get, be able to get a bit of an insight as to what students actually think should be, the position with the budget. So most people disagree that the student guild should only be receiving 3%. That's not that surprising. But it's interesting that, the students don't actually think that the guild should get the majority or over 66%, and that the most popular result is around 50-50. So it's great to see, that there's obviously some sensible heads. And this section here, I guess, is more along the lines of a petitioning section, because this here is an example of a student that has suggested a solution. So these previous solutions have all been put there by the student leaders. And then this is a proposal that's been put there by a student themselves. And you can see under here, oh, that's very popular. And then you can see under here that if you don't see your suggestion being already voiced, then you'd be able to put your suggestion here and give your details and press submit. So it should be very, very easy for people to learn about an issue, to see where its status is, to go into extra research if they want to understand it more fully. They can vote on the solutions. They can make suggestions very easy. So that's probably the biggest thing that I wanted to show you. The other thing is that we have this sort of student reps page, which was the student reps actually asked us to make this so that the website felt a little bit more personal, so that they can see their leaders on the other side. And if you click on a student leader, they can have, she does not, but I'll show you this one, Liam does, that they can attach themselves essentially to certain issues or certain solutions. So there's a level of transparency and accountability from that. So yeah, if I make suggestions myself, they would appear here and I can see, what progress has been made on them. I think essentially I'll leave it there. We're going to go through a pretty big recoding of our platform, and we've taken it's been a year, just over a year that we've launched with students, and we've got pages and pages of notes on how we need to improve. So we're just sort of going through the startup race to try and improve our service, to benefit the student leaders and students. And from there, we want to expand to more universities, including universities around the world, and then, to local governments and state governments and all that fun stuff. Yeah, I'll leave it there. Thank you for that.
Yes, great. Thank you so much, Diane. It's really interesting to see just how different this tool works from the ECI, since it is in nature such a different tool, but definitely has some features that I think are really interesting to look at. And we also have a poll for some of the features we just learned at New Vote. Let me pull that up. Can you all see the poll? Okay, perfect. So we can also get voting underway for this, of course. I mean, just choose an answer as best as you can. You're not getting graded on this. We just really want to test your opinions based on what you've just heard, and also based of your understanding of the ECI and how it works. And any important clarifications will also come later, especially in Jerome's presentation.
Oh, okay. I won't give anything away, but I'm excited.
No spoilers, that will come in at the end. But yeah, really interesting to see how you are voting. This feature with the upvotes and downvotes, this is almost similar also to the Taiwanese platform, where you can also, the argument section, where you can give your pro and con, why you're supporting initiatives or different proposals. So it's a little bit similar to this feature.
Yes, I think the Taiwanese are very advanced. They appear to be very advanced. I love the results that you're able to look at the different prefectures or whatever they are. That's fantastic. That's that's part of the vision of New Vote. But we're a startup, not a government, so we've got to take a little while to get our technology up there.
Okay, great. Since this was just 2 questions, I will now end the poll. We will have one more before the end. And of course, we will then look at the results again at the end. So thanks again very much, Dion, for that. Next up is a tool that many of us in the ECI world might already be familiar with. Mana Balss, that's my voice in Latvian, will be presented by Digis Melkiš. I hope I pronounced your last name right too. So the Zoom room is yours, Digis. You can tell us about the great features of your tool, My Voice.
Hello, do you hear me? All right.
Yes, we can hear you.
Great. So I'm sharing the screen. And as I was introduced, my name is Digis. I'm working for a civic society organization, My Voice, or Mana Balss in Latvian. And we are developing innovative solutions for digital civic engagement in policy making and in legislation also processes. And of course, we are spreading the good news that actually there is such a possibility as an impactful and measurably impactful civic digital participation. And we have a bunch of tools we have developed and are running or are in a process with. But today we will speak mostly about Mana Balss, or My Voice, which is citizen initiative platform for legislative changes. And so citizen initiative platform, Mana Balss, or My Voice, it is the most effective public participation platform in the world. And I will share our little secret, which is not that secret actually, and we're really eager to share it. So we will talk about how it works and why it works. First is the idea. Any citizen aged 16 and plus, or an NGO, or even political parties and businesses, it happens, guys, really, can submit their initiative idea. And for citizens and NGOs, it is a free service. Political parties and companies, there is a payment threshold. And so before the initiative gets published, we are working to improve it, to check the facts, to check all the quality criteria, which are publicly announced and published. And so at the end, actually, we publish only under 40% of what we receive as proposals. And this is one of the pillars of the cornerstones of our success and also of our impactfulness, that we are really taken seriously by all the stakeholders in this ecosystem. So when the initiative is published and this checks and consultations process, it takes, from 20 minutes sometimes to 1.5 months in other occasions. It really depends on the preliminary quality of the submission. And so then it is put to the public vote, and the public vote goes via internet banking or e-signature, the national system. So it is really no trolls, real people, one person, one vote, and it is really legally top level security and meaningfulness. And then when you get 10,000 signatures, it is submitted to the parliament. And we mildly assist in that process, but actually it is done by the authors themselves. And then this deliberative discussion goes on. And then I put emphasis on the word deliberative because it is really behind the scenes and publicly and in the media, and assisted with civic lobbying and experts and discussions by politicians and whomever. It is really deliberative process. And at the end, Parliament accepts or rejects this idea. Surprise, surprise. Mostly it actually accepts. Out of 60 civic initiatives reviewed since 2011, 36 have been implemented into the national law, including a constitutional amendment. And that one is really, according to our knowledge, it's a unique case worldwide when citizens via digital democracy tool have changed their constitution. Also this overall 60% success rate, and we say that it is really measurable. It's just real legislation implemented. That's it. That's what counts. No, coffee talks, etc., or some commission meetings. It doesn't count for us. Anyways, why it works? It's ecosystem of trust, and we are at the center of it. But we are humbly at the center of it, and it is ecosystem of trust by all the stakeholders, and everyone is, I would say, equally engaged. Citizens, organized civic society, government, parliament, government officials from ministries, etc. The widest range of experts, and also media, who really love us and follow closely. Well, not all always love us, I would say. We have a fair amount, well, maybe not that fair, but still an amount of critique also. And also some black PR, it happens. So why it works? This ecosystem of trust, it gives us opportunity to be financially self-sustainable. So last year we had 24,000 unique donors who together, via their micro donations, they gave us more than 60,000 euros for our operational costs. And this is fact which really makes me humble. That popular trust all around this society, who really give their, not only votes, but their money for us to keep going. And it keeps us afloat, I would say. Yeah, it is enough for us to maintain the platform, but for development and for R&D and whatever future projects we go for, outside financing, to grants and to tenders, etc. And of course we are, well, and that ecosystem of trust and financial, that self-sustainability as an NGO, it gives us opportunity to be really politically independent and equally friendly to all the stakeholders. We are absolutely non-biased. It's our business model. I mean, if we compromise that, then we are done. Yeah? we can't afford it, even if we don't want it. And we are very vocal about our success, which means very strong media presence, and we have professional community management, both for Latvian and Russian-speaking communities. We have in Latvia quite big Russian-speaking community. And recently we have also a specific management about environmental and city planning issues, which are quite important here in Latvia also. And we are looking forward to have diaspora manager for Latvians abroad. So as you see, we're really user-centric and user-friendly, and we take care of each initiative, also the ones we don't publish. Each person we get in contact, we discuss what's wrong and could we somehow mend it or refocus, etc. So it's really personal. Why it works? Our conclusions so far are that this national digital participation ecosystem, and again, I put this emphasis on this word ecosystem. It is geared around civic entrepreneurs. We, as an organization, My Voice, we work as civic entrepreneurs, which is kind of under this umbrella term of policy entrepreneurs. And so working as civic entrepreneurs, we enable other individuals and also organized civic society. And together we are spreading this entrepreneurial spirit and commitment among other stakeholders. So our takeaway from these 10 years of work now, those suggestions and advices, they are not easy. It's kind of take the bitter pill. And our conclusions about the main challenges of successful digital participation are as follows. First, trust your own society. No paternalizing from government. It takes a certain social contract, for sure. And that contract usually happens in times of crisis. So my suggestion is don't waste a good crisis. And right now we are either approaching or maybe we are already in the middle of a substantial crisis of democracy legitimacy. If that is not a crisis, then what? And from the government side, from the public sector side, it takes clear commitment stated by legislation that you are taking this civic participation seriously. And here are the rules, and they are followed rigorously by state, by EU level, by United Nations level, or whatever. Yeah. And of course, as I said about civic entrepreneurs, this system takes at the center to be a trusted, self-financed actors. You know, there are NGOs and there are gongos, or basically publicly financed NGOs. So our experience is that unleash the entrepreneurs. Yeah. And there is a saying that the best art takes some starving. Well, this is the case. I don't like it myself personally. I like to live comfortably, but I experience that you have to work for your salary, yeah, and for your development, finance, etc. That it really works. So who in their sound mind would take this advice in public sector or in NGOs? And actually people are listening and are looking for advice to us. And recently we have a small team working in Ukraine, and there are some developments in Ukraine also in partnership with the United Nations. And we are consulting recently also North Macedonian parliament. So actually this knowledge transfer more or less, but it works, and people and media, leading media and leading international institutions really take care. So thank you for your attention, and I'm looking forward for your questions and your contacts and future partnerships. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much, Digis. It's really interesting to see just how much of an impact my voice has on real legislation in Latvia. Over 60% of initiatives, I think, was the number that had some level of legislative impact. So those are really impressive numbers, and yeah, congratulations on that. We also have one last poll for you all to vote on some of what you just heard. The questions might be a little, maybe less IT related, more process related, but given the nature of this tool too, this is also unique. So let's do a quick poll on these issues as well. Let me know if the poll has popped up, if you're able to see that. So as I mentioned, these are more process-related questions, nevertheless important questions also to think about when thinking about maybe the ECI long-term as well. These are really the features that make Manabao such a successful tool that it is. So it's interesting to look at it across all the platforms that are being presented here today. I'll give this a minute or two. We will have after this one more speaker about a tool, one last platform to share in Switzerland before then we get to the ECI, and I hope we will have enough time for questions at the end. So, but speakers, please feel free, especially after your presentations, if there are any questions that are directly related to you that you can easily type out, please do answer the comments also in the chat. And if there are any comments from YouTube, we can also add it in the chat as well. I'll give it another minute. Are you able to see the results? You can't see the results, right? Just the co-host. Okay. Diane, I see you're also reacting as the votes come in, but. Okay, last few seconds. Okay, well, I'll share those results just after our next presenter. Yes, okay, so now let's head over to Andreas Freimüller, who has now joined us, and we're heading over to the gold standard of direct democracy to Switzerland. We see the background is also in Switzerland, so very fitting. Campax.org is probably the youngest tool I think we're hearing from today. You just launched recently, right on the Swiss National Day on August 1st this year. We look forward to hearing what you've been able to do and what your vision is for your platform. So Andreas, please tell us what makes Campax so special.
Yes, hi everybody. Thanks for the opportunity to talk. And let me get the sharing going. So Campax is a Swiss campaigning NGO. We are just barely 4 years old, and you may compare us to organizations like 38 Degrees in the UK or Move On in the US. We noticed that digital organizing hasn't really taken off, and then we thought, well, if other existing organizations are not doing that, then we might as well start something new. And we've had an interesting development. We started with nothing and an idea. We're a team of 7, growing rather quickly now. We have the largest community of all organizations by now, with about 300,000 people on our email list. Just bear in mind that we have 8 million inhabitants, so that's quite a lot already. We work on a variety of issues, and we've had the leading petition platform in Switzerland for about 3 years now. It's called ACT, and we raised about 700,000, or we are raising about 700,000, mostly about 70% through small member donations in this year. This just to describe what it is. And so besides our normal campaigning efforts, we've had this petition platform. We just recently went across the 1 million signature threshold. And just as an example, this week we had a climate strike event on the square in front of Parliament, where mostly young people protested for more climate action. Yesterday they were forcibly removed, and we managed to get more than 20,000 people supporting them on our platform within a day. So things are quite swift nowadays. And so we've had the idea for quite a long time to actually go into the processes of direct democracy. Just maybe a few words on what makes it so special here. We've got the popular initiative, which can bring about changes in the constitution. So we can suggest a detailed proposal, Article 57, and it should say this and that. If you have 100,000 signatures to back that up, it will be discussed in Parliament. The government will say whether they like it or not. And in the end, the voters will decide about whether that constitutional change will happen or not. You also have to bear in mind that it happens pretty rarely that the initiatives actually get accepted. So Switzerland is a conservative country and population by nature, I guess. So the chances for success are pretty limited. The second option is the referendum. So certain decisions of Parliament, they have a compulsory or voluntary referendum. So if you get together and you get 50,000 signatures to support that, again, it will go to a public vote, and people will decide whether that decision of Parliament stands or not. The signatures, they actually go through each and every commune to get verified. So it's a pretty complex logistical nightmare to send all those lists to 3,000 communities basically, and get them back in time and then hand them over nationally in Bern. But it is also something that it's being used quite frequently. It's rather special now under COVID circumstances. The regulations how to collect signatures on the street have become pretty tough. So basically, more or less all committees who have started or are considering to start an initiative or a referendum, they're pretty much stalled because it's so hard to approach people while complying to COVID regulations. So people actually step back and wait. And this is a risk or an opportunity for a digital tool. Because if it's easier to collect while not being on the street, it may be an advantage. But if committees are very reluctant, less initiatives are being started. So we are a bit in a special situation with our platform that we launched August 1st. What is really special that, like on this coming Sunday again, we have a handful of votes. For example, we decide whether we are buying fighter jets for 20 million lifetime costs. So it's something that we are used to do. We are used to decide whether we buy jets or not. That's not many people on the planet can do that, I guess. So when I compare that to the ECI, where you have a pretty big effort, but then you get an answer from the government, which may be more or less lame, the motivation to go for an initiative or a referendum is, I guess, comparably a lot bigger. So we decided to move into that, and actually end of last year, the first time we got into a referendum committee to be part of the direct democratic processes. And what we launched this year, it's a tool called Collect, and it's ready to collect signatures for initiatives or referenda. Here you see the actual site. What you should know, it's basically a combination of technologies. The site you're seeing here with this dummy collection, it's a WordPress site, and we have a signature widget in there, which is called Proca, and that's basically derived from the OpenECI technology. So basically, we have profited from what has been done around the ECI. Like from what I know, the ECI as it is today, it is a bit of a cumbersome process, I would say. And OpenECI has tried to make that more campaigner friendly. And so we've used the Proca widget to embed it into our system and connect it to our CRM systems and other systems. So here we see how it's being filled out. And you also have the consent checkboxes. Tell me how this goes on, and we sign. And what happens after that? We have the form that gets pre-filled by, or basically you have an image template that is behind each campaign, and it gets pre-filled. You see here, name and first name is not filled, although we did capture it. But the reason for that is that legally, those elements have to be handwritten. So if you populated these fields and only signed by hand, it would be void. So we leave those empty. And what we also do, we create a QR code that contains all information the signer entered into our system. The person gets this on the landing page as well as by email, has to print that out. It's pre-franked, just fill it out and fold it, and then drop it in a mailbox, and it will be sent to our office. What happens after that? We have a scanning process, so we can feed lots of those sheets into a scanner, and you have a worker grabbing the scans and putting them in a cloud where another worker waits to read the QR codes, and through an interface feeds that into our CRM. Here you see what I did yesterday when I prepared the slides. I did signed the form you just saw before, and you see the action is register. I registered to sign, and you also see the consents that I gave. So it's like maybe every month, every half a year, there will be some changes. I will see what exactly the consent is, and as soon as the paper has been scanned and read out, you will find another action here, submission. So you could say, oh, Andy has registered but not submitted. And we could even automate, maybe after a few days, after a week, hey, you signed up for this campaign, but you didn't send in the sheet. We can really follow up to make people do the whole job. And that's a pretty handy thing. Other systems that we've seen out there, they didn't have that. So we hope to increase conversion, of course. So what's good about this? Getting the signatures together, you have to compare going on the street, sometimes with volunteers, which is pretty complex to organize. Sometimes it's also combined paid people going on the street to collect signatures. And here the major criteria is how many people you can reach, because the machine will be happy to serve 10, 50, 300,000 people to do this job. And so if your community is into a certain topic, it should expedite the collection process, and it should make it a lot cheaper, because it used to be 6 digits, like at least 100,000 to make that happen. Only the logistical part of collecting the papers, of sending them to communities, getting them back, and so forth. When you give that to an agency, that's maybe 50,000 for a referendum. So we can lower the price and make it more accessible, because especially progressive communities, they usually don't drown in money, and so this should be helpful. But a second aspect is, when you do that online, it's far easier to build a community and grow, because on the paper versions, committees often don't gather contact details or consent. And even if they do, they end up with maybe 50,000 pieces of paper, and they would have someone who spends maybe 300 hours to get that from the paper into a computer. And often it's not done. It's like invaluable information. You may even have the consent, but you can't talk to the people to, for example, get them out to vote, which is a really painful thing. I mentioned how it's done, like with this open ECI component. It's been very advantageous because it's an existing technology. We have organizations in the network that already had connections to the CRM that we also use, so we could quite easily integrate. And the process, I talked it already through, so that's actually not necessary anymore. I guess the benefits of what we have here, it's really built as a campaigning tool. We are like a progressive campaigning organizations, and we built the tools to serve the purpose per campaign, but also for the movement. And so we could actually get it built in a way where it's helpful when it comes to list growth, when it comes to contact people again, and to mobilize. And when I look at ECI, it's more like a bureaucratic invention from how I see it here. And if I think how much effort it must be to collect 1 million signatures without a lot of possibilities to work with what you grew there, I think that's pretty hard for EU campaigners compared to what we can do here in Switzerland. And a second point is that requirements change, and so I think having control over the solution, so we can just spend another few thousand and create an add-on to change it yet again, then we can do that, and we don't rely on a bureaucracy somewhere that may say yes or no. An interesting element that I didn't mention, this widget that we are using, we can give that to 20 or 50 or 100 partner organizations, so they can all embed it on their page, so people will land on the page where they end up. But the data flow that I described, it will always be the same. So it's quite easy to run distributed collection campaigns, so organizations can do it under their brand and so forth. So that's rough in a nutshell what this is. We just launched it in August. We have a first project lined up for October. So in a few weeks' time, there should be the first live case on it. And I'll be happy in the next gathering to tell you more about how it actually went, because here I was just telling you how it's all built, and it hasn't really run the real life challenges yet, but I'll tell you next time. And thank you for your attention. You see my contact details if you want to raise a question later after this meeting.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Andreas. And it's really great to see the exact differences between the tool that you use, which is derived from OpenECI that has supported so many great initiatives, and to compare that with the ECI's online collection system. Just a quick announcement. We will be extending the session by 15 minutes because we're hearing from so many interesting tools, and some very important commentary and reaction from Jerome about the ECI is still to come right now. So we want to make sure that there is still time for live Q&A after that. So please do stay an extra 15 minutes if you can. And if you can't, this is also, of course, live streamed on YouTube. It will be recorded, and we can make sure that you can also catch the end of this if you do have to leave us. Okay, before I hand the floor over to Jerome as our ECI technical expert on the team, I want to present the results of the poll, which our co-hosts have already had a sneak peek at. So let's see how you all voted and what you think, and Jerome then also be able to comment on this. So let me share the results right now. Here's the results of poll 1. This was the results from the change.org presentation by Maike. I'll let you all take a look. Maybe you have some follow-up questions already in mind. You can write them also in the chat. We can get to them after, or Jerome can also especially comment on this. I think there's already some interesting reactions also from my side too, that I would say, and I think Jerome will also surprise us maybe with some news, good news in his presentation. I'll give you a second to read over that before I share the results of the second poll. And I can also, if you do ever want me to pull up the results again, I can also always do that. So just please write that in the chat. The last question, I think we can all agree, always increasing accessibility and user friendliness, going in the right direction is always very welcome for any tool. Okay, I will now share the results of the second poll. This is from New Vote in Australia, the presentation by Dion.
I was amazed to see the level of support for the voting up and down.
Yeah, this surprised me as well.
Yeah,
I think we're living in this like button, dislike button world that we want to just implement it. Wherever this, it's an interesting thought to think about. I have my own personal opinions about this.
well, I think where you're running a petition to get support, and then there's going to be a separate vote, you know, where essentially people are voting yes or no, then you don't need to vote yes or no on the petitioning growing support stage. But maybe with the ECI, which is not going to a vote, is going to, you know, the commission, and they have to give a response, then maybe it would be useful to have the yes and no's counted on the way, so that they have that sort of data, you know, to begin with their review.
Yeah, we've heard this argument also before from some campaigners. Where's there, you can clearly give your voice for an ECI, but where's your voice maybe against an ECI? There's no counter. Then you have to then go through that registration process again to have a counter ECI. So it's a interesting thought to think about. I will share the results of the third poll now. This was, of course, more process related, not so IT related, but also interesting to think about in comparison with the ECI, since these are the features that make my voice so successful and famous in Latvia.
Yeah, so we are proud to be controversial a little bit on this issue, and meaning that we can really talk about it and go on in our discussions, and then there is certainly a point, and our emphasis are on this effectiveness and on the quality.
Yeah, exactly. In the early years of the ECI, the Commission was more strict in which initiatives were registered. In the last years, they have been more lax about that. So there has been an increase in registered initiatives. So that is good. I mean, more initiatives can be registered. Of course, they need to follow certain standards, always respect of human rights, for following EU values and all of that good stuff. Okay, I can always pull this up, of course, if you're interested. But I think now it would be really great to hear from Jerome. You're really our technical expert in the room, so you can really respond to this. Tell us maybe what the ECI can do, what it's already doing, your reaction to the poll, or is anything surprising? Is anything you would like to comment on? And also what's new with the online collection system? There are also some new features as of this year. So Jerome, the floor is yours. We're looking forward to hearing what you think.
Thank you, Daniela, and thank you for all the team for organizing this event. I think this is really unique and very nice to have this demo on all those tools and to go in such details. So it's not so often that we have the possibility to go and see all the features of change.org and all the other speakers. And it was very nice, and for me, bring a lot of input. Well, my first reaction, in fact, when I read all the reactions and this discussion, is that finally ECI is not so much well known as we would expect to be. And indeed, it's true that we have sometimes on forums the ECI days, we have things like that, but those forums where indeed people are able to be a bit controversial about challenges are very nice because they give us the possibility to explain more about what is ECI doing, and also the possibility to show you a bit those features. So as you know, the ECI was introduced in 2012 following the Lisbon Treaty, and had already a long life, where the Commission has put a lot of effort to improve it. First, it was the citizens, the organizers that had to build their own system, and the Commission was just offering an open source software. And then basically we improved it. We offered a complete system for free, which was a basic, say one of the main reasons for which campaigners could not campaign at the beginning. And then we always increased functionalities. And over the last years, there was and with the impulsion of the Vice President Timmermans, there has been a new regulation on the ECI that brought additional features. And for example, about the emails that were mentioned by change.org, yes, now from the 1st of January 2020, we are offering emails, and campaigners can reach their citizens via emails, and emails are constantly increasing. So let's say we have today 50 people of the Commission in IT that are touching more or less the ECI. I have a team of 6 people that are fully just developing on the ECI. On the business side, the colleagues of the Secretariat General, which are also in the call, where you have Adriana, who replied, Christos and Sylvia, and also so that Charlotte, who participated, is here. So there are a core team of 7 people, but if you take into account the people that are doing the translations, because our website is translated in 24 languages, you have all the DGT, or all the Directorate of Translation that is behind us, all the lawyers. So it's also more than 50 people. There is a big commitment from the Commission to make the ECI a success and to support the citizens and the organizer in order to have, let's say, their vote and their say in the Commission. So not only a citizen, but of course business, and we have introduced in the new regulation, the legal entity can also submit ECIs. And then I would say, well, I read that you just get a response, an answer from the government after an ECI. First, okay, there is not government of the European Union for the moment, so it will be the Commission that will provide you not only an answer. We are going to do like we are doing for the law, the regulation. We are going to do a real impact assessment on the successful initiative. So it's going to be something very serious. And at the end, well, the idea is that this will lead to a new regulation. So with ECI, you are able to change the law of the European Union that applies to all the member states. So at the end, what you get is something very strong. And this is also the reason why we have constraint, let's say, that are imposing more data set than what I see, for example, for change.org or for others, where you just request for, say, username, last name, and an email address. Because at the end, the member state will validate that those votes are real. And if they are real, then you get the 1 million, and then a lot of things are behind. You are invited to the parliament to explain, to the European Parliament to explain your proposal, and you will have an impact assessment. And I will tell you that being within the ECI, there is strong, let's say, motivation from the ECI team that those proposals, when they reach 1 million, and we know how difficult it is to reach 1 million, they get something, not just a response, but a law that is changed. And so again, so maybe let me show you a bit as well our side, because we have also to clarify something. So in the commission and my team, let's say we are indeed building the collection system. So we are what we are trying to achieve, of course, is to have a nice collection system so that when people are coming, they can sign seamlessly without any problem, without any bugs. Now, with the commission, we are not behind the campaign. We are not, and it is to the campaigner, to the organizer, to make a campaign. So we are not. It's not exactly like the other side that I see here, where you have the collection system, but you are also doing the campaigning. So you are. Everything is in one. Let's say is in one hand. Also, of course, you are supported by the people that are behind the commission, but you are also very active on the campaigning side. So on our side, the commission, so we try to present the ECI as let's say as clearly as possible, as transparently as possible. We try to provide a collection system for the citizen to vote your ECI, but the responsibility to make the campaigning is on the ECI on the organizer side. However, you will see that even in our collection system, if we are just collecting, we have introduced a few features from campaigning. For example, do emails, some interactions, because indeed we want to support the organizer. So let me show you now, and let me share my screen to show you a bit how our ecosystem is. So, in fact, what you see is that what you have proposed, what I've seen here is split in different sites that have each of them their purpose. So this is, for example, the public site of the European Commission on the ECI. This is where normally citizens and even will land at the first time.
This is a question. Are you sharing your screen right now?
Yes, I'm sharing my screen.
At least I don't see. No? Okay.
Yes,
now
maybe.
it's starting.
Now you see. Okay, yeah. So this is the public site of the ECI. So let me go again here. So the first thing is that you see you have all 24 languages. So everything has been translated. So let's go for English. So you will arrive here. And here we have completely, let's say, revamped our website. 1 year ago, it was completely different. Now, from the beginning, you will see on the landing page all the latest event on the different ECI. So the latest event, because it could be events on collection ongoing, but could be event as well on answer from the commission, on a new update, on an ECI registered. So we try to make it as lively as possible. If you go there, you will have here the ongoing initiatives. So, for example, when I was looking at change.org, it's true that they are putting the card with already the, let's say, the description, a small description of the initiative, but then they are put one below the other. So what we try to do in our side is try to be as equal as possible to each of the initiatives. So we go with the card, but we could discuss, for example. So then this is where you will see those initiatives that you could support. As well, we have also created, and this is also new, a forum where, in fact, citizens are able to exchange ideas about initiatives, about proposed initiatives. So if I will go there, let me go to the forum. Yeah. So this is a forum where citizens are able to discuss about initiatives. They're also able to learn about how to campaign about initiatives, because we have also contracted to say another company or organization that is knowledgeable in campaigning. They're able to discuss, they're able to connect. So this is all what is around the ECI. So now if we go more into an initiative, so let's start, for example, the example of stock thinning. So those organizers want to prevent the thinning market over in Europe. So here what you will see, immediately you will have the possibility to support this initiative, a button, and you will be redirected to our site, to our collection system. So this is where you will be able to support this initiative. So here, what we try to do is to really explain clearly to the citizen, okay, what is the initiative about and how they can vote. So so let's say, for example, so you will let me something here. It's good. So so you will see all of that. So you will have, for example, here the possibility to see how many people already voted and where they voted. So it is not as detailed as in Taiwan, where you can see inside Taiwan from which region they are, but at least you will see from in the European Union where your voters are. So you will, and then you will have, let's say, to fill the different fields, let's say, and you will have two possibilities. First, things online form here, where you will have, let's say, what the member state is asking to be able to check their citizen. So, and you will put your data here, and you will have a CAPTCHA here to prevent robot. So we don't ask the user to be authenticated because we want to, let's say, to make it as easy as possible for everyone to support. And at the same time, for example, we are using a CAPTCHA. We know sometimes could be a bit difficult for the citizens, but at the same time, we don't use the emails like they do in change.org, because we just want to ask for the minimum data set and not ask for extra information to the citizen in order to support. Because emails, let's say you can collect emails, but not when you're supporting. So this is why also it explains a bit the constraints. And then let's say you will support, and or maybe okay, I will show you something else. That at the same time you have here on the left the website of those organizers. So if you go to this website of these organizers, this is a campaigning site now view. This is where in fact everything should happen, and where the organizer has the possibility to put all his campaigning tools. And for me, it was very much looks like what we saw from YY in the website that he presented for this campaign. So this is here you have we leave to the organizer the possibility to put all the details about his campaign. He can use all his creativity, and of course we do not have the commission this creativity and this graphical capability, so we will leave it to the organizer to be as creative as he wants. And there he has a nice voting button, which is very clear, and when you click here, so he will again arrive to our collection system. So our collection system, there is one big thing that we introduced with the new regulation is a support via EID. So you see, for example, for Belgium, if you are Belgium, you have the possibility to use your EID cards or even your EID on the mobile. So if I click here, I will be redirected to the Belgium, to the EID, to our EID node, which is a component that we have in the Commission, and that is connected to all member state EIDAS node, to EID node. And there, at this time, I will be redirected to the Belgium site for EID. And in Belgium, well, EID is very popular, and you have the possibility to send via a card or via, let's say, a mobile app. So if you go there, you will go to the mobile app. And here I will put my number, and I will receive a confirmation to put on my number, and then I will be able to vote. So for example, for your information, in Belgium, more than half of the people that have supported this initiative are supported via EID. And I think this is a really great feature that we have. So of course, for the rest, what we do, we always try to make sure that we have the user feedback. So for example, we also have backend applications, which are our say administration application, where we are in fact also collecting the feedback from the users, and that we can display. So if I will go to stop filling, for example, I will go to the collection system here, and here, for example, I can see the user feedbacks. And what you see here is that for stop filling, the vast majority of users having supported, I said that their user experience was very good. And it went good. And if we had the very good and the good, you see that more than 90% of the supporters having signed with our collection system are very satisfied with it. And we are going to of course, we're going to increase this. For the speaking of new functionalities, we're going to try to see if they are, let's say, supporting from a tablet, from a smartphone, from which country. This will allow us to fine-tune, let's say, the experience and to improve our system, which we're constantly doing. There was as well something that was said is that, okay, we don't offer, let's say, the image. So I want to prove how it is now. So if you are an organizer and that you have choose the collection system of the Commission, you will have this dashboard to manage your initiative. So first here, you will see that as YY was showing, we display a very clear timeline of where you are in the process of your initiative. So this is an initiative, for example, let's say, as registered, as now is ongoing. After, if it reaches 1 million, it will submit to member state. Then it will be verified by member state. That will be submitted to Commission, and then the Commission will reply and will tell if you can make something more to that. You have the possibility as well to collect on paper, and here you will have the possibility, what we provide are the scanned paper form that you want to go and ask the people to sign. I was very interested to see the presentation of the organizer of the Campax website about all this form, and I agree with him that the paper is not the preferred way, and it's raising a few difficulties. However, let's say, in order to make it more simple, we have, let's say, designed a form here, which is following member state requirement, and which we are sure that the member state will approve, you see. And at the end, member state agree on this form, and they will just scan this form to validate the statement of support. See? So you have plenty of things, but you have as well here the possibility to have a complete dashboard of your initiative. So you know, for example, where you are in terms of collecting, and also in criteria that you have to fulfill to get the 1 million. So you have to have 7 countries thresholds. You have also the, let's say, the historic and the trend of the 1 year about the collections that you have, and per country as well. You can customize your collection system. You can put, let's say, a picture. You can put by one color. You can decide to show or not the progress bar, to the limit that you want to reach, to show the subscription map. And as well here, you can put some customized messages to your supporters after they have signed. You can add a social network. And finally, what is the really new feature from this year is that you can send messages. So you can send messages. You can decide to send messages, for example, to everyone, to all your supporters in all the languages, or you can make more tailored selection. Let's say you want to write a message in German, so you guess only the German supporters will understand it, and you write just for them. So you just select Germany, and there, say, I'm not really good in German, so I will put say, let's put in English, okay, and say hello and whatever, and there you will have the possibility to write your email. So we have a few functionalities with a different, let's say, I can put it the color, you know, whatever I want with, okay, and you can even put images if you want. And you will be able to introduce images, and you will be able to preview your message before you send it. So these are all the different functionalities that we have. Let me to finish maybe on the yes. So this is an example of our test system. Let's say if I would support, I'm trying to support an initiative. So you can see how is it when I support. So this is a support form from our initiative. So you have to say that you have accept, and here you support the initiative. And when you are on congratulation page, you have in fact the different things that I show you that you can customize. This message is your message. This is the message that you want to put. These are the Facebook and link in order to, let's say, make it easy for your supporters to just share after the initiative their support with the community. This is where, in fact, the citizen is able to leave his email address, to be informed only on this initiative, because the regulation is very strict on that. If you leave your email address, it is to be related to this initiative only. So let's say you have the possibility to say, yes, I want to be informed of this initiative. In the case that organizers want to contact me later, to send me emails, but as well later, if the Commission is doing something, is doing a regulation, the Commission will contact you on this one. You also have the possibility to register to an ECI newsletter in general that gives information about ECI in general. And there I want to make a point is that those emails are encrypted in our collection system, and the support are encrypted. And I say the strongest feature of all our system, I'm not able to show you, but the strongest feature is the security. We have invested a lot of budget and a lot of effort in building a very secure site. So we, for example, for the IT people, I would say that we have bought a hardware module, let's say it's a key management system, bought from a company that is specialized in army, military stuff, where all our data are using this module to be encrypted. And the data are encrypted from the moment they enter into our system until the moment that they are sent to the member state. So they are constantly encrypted. Why? Because in our view, the most important thing is the trust in the system, and the trust is that the citizens they should be sure that their data will only be used for this purpose, and that no one will be able to use their data. And this is also the data protection principle, and that's why as well those data. I want to say to the citizens organizer, we are not sharing it with anyone. We don't share it with the organizer. We don't, and only very few people of us can have access in order to do their obligation under GDPR. Because if a citizen wants to have his data removed, we will remove it for him. But otherwise, those data are completely, all the way they are encrypted. So, so that's, I'll say this is about it. As well, you see here, you can put, for example, the user experience. This is where we collect the user experience of the citizen. This is where they will put it. And it's true that when I was looking at a different website, and looking also at the comment that we have here, we notice that the citizens very often they don't put, let's say, their feedback on the user experience of this collection system, but they put a feedback regarding the initiative themselves. They would say, "Yes, great, this is a great initiative. Go on, do it again," or "I don't agree on that," or. And maybe I was wondering if we should not indeed allow to have those comments that apparently citizens are willing to make public. Because apparently, as you see, our main concern is protecting the privacy of the citizens. And that's why, for example, we don't use reCAPTCHA like OpenACI is doing. Because for us, this reCAPTCHA is a black box from Google and can trace you and see you where you are going. That's why you don't see it. You don't see that. I mean, you see an open source CAPTCHA. And for the future, as the new features, we are working as a commission on building a new corporate EU CAPTCHA, which hopefully maybe will be able to, let's say, be an alternative to the Google CAPTCHA. So, but at the same time, it's true that I think change.org, that some people are willing to share their opinion, are willing to know, yes, I've supported for this initiative, yes, I like it, and maybe we should reflect on how, if we should maybe make that reflect more in our website. Here you see, for example, we just put, every time we have a new support, it's coming from France, it's coming from Bologna, but we don't put, for example, Daniela as signed from France, for example, or things like that. So, well, in a nutshell, this was all the reactions that I had on the different interventions. I can go now maybe more into details into the poll. So for change.org, well, I think that I showed why I think that for the emails and the accuracy emails, my belief that the people who signed this it's not existing ECI didn't know the ECI. I hope now that you know the ECI and everyone will say it's already existing. And we are going as well to increase the features on that. We are going to allow, for example, the organizer to know how many times it took to send the 1 million email, because potentially you can have 1 million emails, so it will take maybe 2 hours, 3 hours. So don't send 10 messages at the same time. Just wait that one has been sent after 3 hours before you send another one. well, we hope that the sign easy was also for us. I think in the user experience, that's what I try to see, that the citizens, they say, yes, it is easy to sign with the central collection system. For new vote, a summary about each issue. Well, I hope that indeed, well, we have the obligation that for every initiative, you have to put what it is about. You have the summary that is here and that is there. So now voting, yes or no, or I like it or I don't like it. Like you rightly said, Daniela, we don't have a button, no, I don't like this initiative. And I do not think we will have it. And because this is not the purpose of the initiative, because how would we treat this? I do not agree on that. Or we have to change the regulation to do that. I mean, but I'm not sure that the organizer will like that people will say, no, I don't like your initiative. But why not? I mean, why not? At the end, it's a good idea to make it more interactive and to get more interactions. Regarding the Manab's yes, I would say that question, yes, on the poll. I would say yes, this is more for the business, but first, of course, the entrepreneur, they can let's say, nothing prevents the entrepreneur to launch initiatives. Again, there is a legal entity to do that. The commitment, yes, there is a strong commitment from the regulation, from the Commission. The commitment is that you have an impact assessment, you have you are invited to the Parliament. So that's I think this is for the moment what the Commission decided to do. I know in the last ECI days, some organizers were saying, why don't you make a referendum if we reach 1 million? Maybe it's a bit too much, I think. But there, I would say the business people will be a better place than me to say. But in my view, making an impact assessment is putting you at the same level of any European law. And this is something very strong from the Commission. Then about the criteria, for me, the criteria are very clear, and they are the European Union Treaty. So if your initiative fall under the European Union, let's say laws and treaty, then it is accepted. And it's true that you're right, Daniela, you mentioned that at the beginning, the Commission was more strict on refusing initiatives. And there has been indeed some, I remember Mandatory Safe Pact, they went to court, they said, no, we should have been accepted. And after they won in court and they have been accepted afterwards. So it's just about that. But this, I have to say that the Commission has made a trend on that and has evolved and has even introduced the notion of partially registered initiative. So that even if some part of your proposal, the regulation is not completely falling under the treaty, the Commission will accept it, but partially saying this part is not accepted. And also in the process, when you submit your initiative, if the Commission feels that some part is not will not be accepted or is partially registered, it will ask you to reflect on it for a period of 2 months again, if you want to change a proposal to make it fully in line with the Commission. So, so I guess I covered all the points. Thank you again for giving me the floor.
Yes, thank you very much, Jerome, for this presentation of the ECI from the technical side and for your reactions to the other presenters and to the poll. I'm so sorry that we have went so over time. I think it really shows that our presentations were so interesting, that our tools were so interesting, that we had so much to discuss. It's good to know that we can have maybe we should do a part A and part B on this kind of topic. I think most of the questions have been answered in the chat, but if the presenters feel comfortable, please do put your email in the chat so that people can reach out to you directly with any questions that haven't been answered. We did hear that there is some good news of a lot of the features that you all voted positively on, that the ECI is already doing. For example, that you can adopt a feature, you can connect supporters via email. I think this is really key in online campaigning, and this is now possible also with a new online collection system. The upvote, downvote, yeah, this is not in the ECI, but don't forget there is the ECI forum. That's the online collaborative platform of the ECI. You can post a topic on there, and then it's basically a comment forum. You can then comment, I'm against a topic like this. So it's not really an upvote, downvote, but there is a discussion forum where you can voice your concerns against them in ECI. Again, I'm so sorry for going over time. I hope that you've all been able to learn something new. Presenters, yes, please put your email in the chat box. And if anyone wants to reach out to the presenters directly with any questions, please do so. Thanks again so much to everybody, to all of our panelists, especially such great presentations. And we hope that we can see you at another session coming up on the Global Forum here. I think Anna has some last words to say as a technical moderator.